Hello everyone, this is Colin Parker from the Scavengers Network, and I am here to get us started with episode 2 of Culture Shock, and today's episode is going to be a review. So I picked up the album, and it's called Concrete and Gold, and it starts off with that first song, which is called T-Shirt. T-Shirt is a song that I think musically is so good and kind of classic Foo Fighters, like some of the older albums, specifically, There Is Nothing. The thing about that song, though, is that there's something wrong with how it's mixed. And that's going to be, unfortunately, a very big component of this entire album. T-Shirt was a very good song, in my opinion. Especially when it kind of hits to that big moment, that big reveal, I guess you could say. And just Dave Grohl's vocals just fall out completely. In the second song, Run, that song kind of grew on me. When I first heard it, it really wasn't my favorite thing. It's still by far not even close to my top 10 songs, but there was a point in time where, when I was listening to the album multiple times through to prep for this video, the first couple of times I actually skipped it. Part of that is also they put out a music video for it, and it was a very classic Foo Fighters style music video that I think they nailed. But once again, even with Run, even with the kind of bigger moments, the vocals and the mix of things get a little weird. When everyone's not kind of going as hard as they can, I think Dave's vocals ring through a little bit more. But just, there are moments where the guitars, I know that their main focus for the band, there's 3 guitar players, but it still is sometimes too much. Song number 3. This song is called Make It Right. This song, it has a very catchy beginning, in my opinion. Like, the little riff in the very beginning with the kind of, before everything starts coming out on a little bit more, it kind of starts to build up, build up, build up. I think that's a really good formula. Obviously, you shouldn't do that in every single song, but, like, building up to me is, I think, kind of fun. Overall, Make It Right isn't a bad song. It's just a little... It's still just a little lackluster, unfortunately. Like, it's just... and there's some moments in this song that remind me a lot of some of the later Beatles material. And I just think that it could be a lot more present, and it just isn't. Song number 4, The Sky is a Neighborhood. I feel like this could be a really good song. And I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. But the mix... In the beginning, he's a lot quieter, even though he's yelling. And I understand that it's potentially a fact of, like, taking a mic, taking a step back, maybe more, and yelling out, right? Before you build up to that moment where you come back to the mic. But just when the rest of it comes in, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere. The ahs are, once again, very reminiscent of the later Beatles material, just like in the last song. Once again, I think this could have been a really good song, and there's something about the overall package that just makes it not quite where it should be. La-dee-da. This might be one of the most fun songs on the album, in my opinion, because to me it's kind of got a little bit of elements of older Foo Fighters, and also the more recent Foo Fighters, I think it has a lot of moments that remind me of Wasting Light. It starts off kind of slower. The first groove and the first bit of it is a little bit more laid back. And then it builds up, and it hits on that chorus, and it's really, hitting. And to me, that's very, very, very Foo Fighter. Like, that is a Foo Fighter thing to me. Is like having this, like, intricate and, like, very almost powerful vocal line hitting into a different type of powerful vocal line as he just screams it out, and just everything kicks in to overdrive. Dirty Water. Dirty Water reminds me a lot of the very first album. It reminds me a lot of that titled album, that self-titled album, Foo Fighters. I don't think the song necessarily goes anywhere, but it's still a nice song to listen to, and I'm not going to skip it anytime it comes on. Arrows. This is the song that, like, going into this, I had the least amount to say about. Happy Ever After. I do really like this song. Happy Ever After, the little acoustic bit and the lackadaisical thing, that does remind me of other acoustic tracks on past albums. You know, once again, like, I do think that this album is very true to their sound, whether some of their more classic stuff or more recent stuff. I think that they have a good mix of both of those sounds. But I really like the lyrics, and I really like his vocals in this song. There's just something that is just, it brings me back to kind of a younger time for me. Back when I was first getting into Foo Fighters, and back when I was first kind of discovering kind of the music that I think defined me. And I understand that it sounds weird to say that about a quieter track. But I mean, like, this type of song is a song that I could see someone like Dave Grohl can do it all. Dave Grohl can be that powerhouse, and then he can go on and do something like this. I think Happily Ever After might be the best mixed and possibly best sounding song overall, really, on this album. Yeah, no, I feel confident in that. The drums on Sunday Rain are Paul McCartney. And it's very interesting to me because the sound of the song isn't very Paul McCartney-like, but the drums definitely make it feel that way, or at least it pulls you in that direction. Also, I've just realized I'm looking into the screen and not into the camera. Episode 2, what are you going to do? The vocals in it, the vocal harmonies are really good, and I think it kind of pulls together that chorus. I think that this song would be a little boring if it didn't have some sort of levels to it. I'm definitely a big advocate for, like, the wall of sound. I also know that you can't do it every second of every song, but there are moments where without something there, it's there. Honestly, I just don't even have anything to say about this song. It's a song. It's on the album. The title track of Concrete and Gold. I don't love it. Like, it's not like one of my top favorite songs of all time. Kind of like other songs on this album. Unfortunately, none of these songs are ever going to be top 10 for me, but this song is definitely higher up than middle, I guess is probably the best way of putting it. Maybe someday I'll actually go through and actually rank every single Foo Fighter song, whether if it's for a video or just for me. But this song, I don't think would really have come together had they not had the stylings of Boyz II Men. There's a great video out there on Twitter, which we can link to here. But Dave Grohl talks basically about how the creative process of the whole album came to be, and in that video, and in that interview, I guess it is. I don't know if it's an interview or just like him kind of telling so everyone knows what happens. He talks about how this was kind of one of those moments that made him decide what the album was really going to entail, with special guests, being involved in it. He was out in the parking lot writing the lyrics to this song when he came across Sean Stockman, and asked him to be on the album. And they were talking about the chorus, and like it's very heavy. It's just like, very slow guitar, but just like really chugging along. And like it's very low and gravelly, but like it comes into the boom, and like it has an opportunity to just erupt. The vocal lines that Sean Stockman provide for that song take it to that next level. And I think that's what makes this song good. I think, honestly, it's that chorus that just... Dave's vocal line is great. It's, very laid back and very, very chill, very, very warm, But the harmonies overlaid behind him and the wandering line on top of that are just so good. Like, the first time I heard that, I actually got chills. Just because of the fact that, like, I hadn't heard something quite like that in a Foo Fighter song ever. And that was really cool to me. This was something new. And I think that's the first time on the album that I can really say that. It's a good album. It's not an amazing album. Do I think it could be better? Yes. I totally understand wanting to work with a new producer and wanting to work with someone whose material that you enjoy. In Dave's video, Dave talks about Greg Kurstin. Greg Kurstin is the producer of the album, and although he's worked on some really, really big productions, some really big albums, they even mention it in the thing that this wasn't something that he's ever really worked with, a band of this nature, of this sound. I also know that he can't be blamed for, not blamed, but I also know that obviously he's not the one who fully mixes and masters the whole product. But of course, as a producer, you're making certain decisions on sound. And it's just very clear to me that, like, I think some of the ideas of pop music don't translate into this style of music. So my rating for this album, 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's a D-level album. It's not an awful album. It's just not great. Again, it totally has potential to be something. It just never quite lived up to it. So I'm going to stick with 7.5. And, live with some of the songs that I do think are really good. And I'm going to continue to listen to the chorus of Concrete and Gold and listen to that huge chorus. So thanks for joining us for episode 2 of Culture Shock. That was my review of the album. If you've listened to it, let me know what you thought about it. I'm curious to hear what other people have to say about it. Let me know if you think I was too gracious to it, or if you think I was too hard on it. I like to talk about that kind of thing. And if there's anything you want to see us review in the future, please let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out next week's episode. I believe Alex is interviewing a filmmaker. Thank you for joining us here on Culture Shock Episode 2. I'm Colin Parker, and we'll see you next week.